So we're continuing our look at the upcoming season for the Ontario Hockey League 2024-25, just around the corner. Training camps start to get underway this weekend for some teams, then everybody else is next week. So I've already done previews for both the East and the Central divisions. Now we take a look at the Midwest, which is often considered the toughest division in the Canadian Hockey League. It's got some heavy hitters in it, and this season maybe a couple of those teams take a step back, but it still should be very competitive hockey once the regular season gets underway. So just like the other two preview videos, I'm doing the teams in alphabetical order and just talking about last season and where we can expect them to go in the new regular season. And that starts us off with the Erie Otters. They were third in the Midwest Division last year, a record of 33-28-5-2, 73 points on the year. Their power play kind of struggled, 20.6%, tied for fourth in the division, and their penalty kill, 75%, which was fifth in the Midwest. Their leading scorers, Pano Femus led the way, 25 goals, 51 assists, 76 points. Malcolm Spence, second in scoring, 19 goals, 43 assists, 62 points. And Sam Alfano, 27 goals on the season, along with 33 assists and 60 points. In net, there was a long list of goaltenders. They had up to 10 goalies dressed during the regular season due to injuries, but I'm only going to stick to two. Ben Goodrow, he had an .889 save percentage after coming over from the Sarnia Sting, so he was not too bad in net. And also Jacob Gibbons, an .819 save percentage. His numbers could be better, but he was also in his rookie season, so I expect him to be a little more ready for this upcoming season, as he's had a year under his belt with the Erie Otters. So I only listed, like I said, two of the goalies because Ben Gaudreau had that injury in January, and then there was some other injuries, and they had to have some emergency call-ups. So they had 10 goalies dressed in total, but still, it was quite the learning curve for this Erie Otters team, who were looking to snap that playoff drought. The last time they were in the playoffs was when they won the championship in 2017, and with this gutsy effort from the Erie Otters, they also had Stan Butler behind the bench, a veteran presence there to help guide this team. They were able to make the playoffs, and they made the best of it. They took the Kitchener Rangers to 6 games, but of course ended up falling to Kitchener in the first round. But it is a learning experience, and I do expect this Erie Otters team to take that next step. They have a lot of returning pieces, and they look poised for a deeper run come playoff time. They might even challenge for top spot in the Midwest Division. I expect Matthew Schaefer to have a big season for the Otters. It's his draft year, and right now he's projected to be a top 10 pick for the 2025 NHL entry draft. So expect him to take that next step forward. He even played great over at the Hlinka Gretzky tournament where he won gold with Team Canada. So things really shaping up here for the Erie Otters going forward. So the Otters, they have made a few moves this week. They've traded away 2 overage players. First, it was Spencer Sova to Brampton, and then Bruce McDonald to Owen Sound. But they've also picked up Gabriel Frasca from the Kingston Frontenacs, and if healthy, can really help contribute offensively with this Erie Otters team. Now, looking at the draft cupboard for Erie, they have all their picks except for the 6th round in 2025. But then after that, they've already traded away their 2nd-round picks in 2027 and 2028. But I still think this team could add a few pieces as they look to make some noise in the Western Conference this year. Next up, the Guelph Storm. They ended up 4th in the Midwest Division, a record of 33-28-6-1, 73 points on the season. Their power play, 20.6%, matching the Erie Otters. Their penalty kill, 78.7%, so 4th best in the Midwest. Leading scorers, Jet Luchenko led the way, 20 goals, 54 assists, good for 74 points. Braden Bowman, 37 goals, 34 assists, 71 points. And third in scoring was Jake Carabella, 25 goals, 30 assists, good for 55 points. In net, Braden Gillespie was outstanding at times, an .898 save percentage, and then Damian Slavic didn't play too much, but he still had an .891 save percentage, so very respectable numbers there. Now, health, Matthew Poitras, and lack of goal scoring were the main storylines last season for the Storm. They had to wait until midway point of the season until Cam Allen returned from injury, and they kept waiting to see if Poitras would be released from the Boston Bruins. He ended up staying at the National Hockey League level after suffering an injury after the World Juniors, so he never came back. And then goals were just so hard to come by for this team. Now, they will have a new coach behind the bench this season. Corey Stillman takes over after a stint as an assistant coach in the NHL. That was with the Arizona Coyotes, and before that was a head coach with the Sudbury Wolves. So Stillman knows the junior hockey level, and I think he's going to be able to put some systems in place to help develop this team as they look to move forward. They were an older team last year, which means there's going to be some growing pains next year with a lot of graduating players. And I think Stillman is just what the doctor ordered for this Guelph Storm team as they prepare for the future for the Guelph Storm Hockey Club. Now, Jet Luchenko, he'll be counted upon quite a bit to find the back of the net this season. He was, of course, selected by the Philadelphia Flyers at the NHL draft and was quite the surprise going in the first round. But he did have the best combine stats going into the NHL draft. So Jet Luchenko, a shining star for this Guelph Storm team going forward. And we'll have to wait and see how it all transpires. The Storm cupboard a little bare past 2025, so they may look to recoup some of those picks this year. And I do expect Guelph to take a step back even from what we saw last year. They might be fighting for a playoff spot by the end of the 2024-25 season. Next up, Kitchener Rangers. They were second best in the Midwest, a 41-23-4 record, 86 points. Their power play, 23%, which was third best in the division. Their penalty kill, though, 82.5%, second best in the Midwest. Top scorers last year, Carson Rakoff, he had 52 goals, 43 assists, 95 points. Hunter Brustevich, 13 goals, 79 assists, good for 92 points. And then Matthew Sopp, third in scoring, 43 goals, 47 assists, 90 points. In net, Jackson Parsons, he was pretty solid for Kitchener last year with an .897 save percentage. And then Tristan Malbouf, .874 save percentage. So not too bad numbers there for the backup goaltender for Kitchener. Now, right now, all signs are pointing towards a rebuild for Kitchener. They've already sent Rakoff off to the Brampton Steelheads, and other veteran players could also be on the way out as they look to recoup picks and bring in younger talent, because I think the Rangers are playing the long game right now, because the 2027 Memorial Cup will be in the OHL, and all signs point to the Kitchener Rangers putting in a bid to host that tournament. So with that in mind, they're going to be getting draft picks and players to align with a push in the 2026-27 season. Now, Kitchener, they exceeded expectations last year with their hot start to the regular season, and that can kind of be attributed to Jussi Ahokas, who was great in his first season as head coach for Kitchener, and I think he might be able to get more out of his players this year. There's been a lot of positive signs when it comes to Ahokas on the bench, and I think for Kitchener, it's going to be a lot of learning and growing, and this team, like I said, looking for 26-27 to potentially be there next year. They compete and be the top team in the Midwest Division. Now, I don't think Kitchener will be a write-off. They should still compete for a playoff spot, but like I said, this organization right now looking to the future. The London Knights, they were the team to beat last year, first in the Midwest with a 50-14-1-3 record, 104 points on the season. Their specialty teams were lethal. Their power play, 32.6%, which was first, and also the penalty kill first at 85%. Denver Barkey led the way in scoring, 35 goals, 67 assists, 102 points. Easton Cowan next up, 34 goals, 62 assists, 96 points. And then Ruslan Gazazov, 36 goals, 45 assists, good for 81 points. This team was stacked last year. Michael Simpson was acquired at the start of the year. He had a .905 save percentage for London. And then Owen Wilmore, .899 save percentage, so not too bad there as well as the backup goaltender for this London Knights team. So London, amazing run for them. A bit of a slower start, but they set records along the way and ended with an OHL championship in 2024, but they might not be done yet. There will be multiple players graduating, but their returning cast could be a solid one once again, with question marks being Easton Cowan, Denver Barkey, Oliver Bonk, and to an extent, Sam Dickinson. He was selected in the first round by the San Jose Sharks. I think he comes back to the OHL, but there is that question mark, especially with how San Jose kind of struggling and restructuring at the National Hockey League level. The only question mark, though, next season it's going to be goaltending, I think, for London. It's Owen Wilmore ready. Is he ready to be the starter, or do they look to bring in a veteran, kind of like Michael Simpson last year? So the Knights, they have plenty of options in their draft cupboard, and they could look to add some depth this upcoming season. And finally, the Owen Sound Attack, 5th in the Midwest Division last year, 29-36-3 record, 67 points. Their power play was second best in the Midwest, 30%. Penalty kill, 81.1%. So that was third. So their top scorers last year, Denny Gore, 36 goals, 60 assists, 96 points. We had Ethan Burrows, 31 goals, 45 assists, good for 76 points. And then Sam Sedley, 9 goals, 54 assists, 63 points. Those are your top three scorers for Owen Sound. In net, Carter George, he was solid, .907 save percentage. And then Corbin Vordery, he kind of struggled at times with that 845 save percentage. So for the attack, they're coming out of a rough season where they had that hot start. Coaching was in question when Greg Walters was let go at the start of the year, and kind of things fell apart. The wheels fell off the cart, and for the Owen Sound attack, they just couldn't get the job done. They tumbled down the standings, and right now they look like a team that's primed for a retool, maybe even a rebuild for this season. So overage forward Cedric Gendon already moved to Kingston this summer, but they did acquire Bruce McDonald from the Erie Otters. So Gendon, he had a 57 points last year, but McDonald only 35. But they both play different styles. And I think for the Owen Sound attack, looking for that blue collar approach. We heard Dale DeGray say he wants teams to be afraid to play at the Bayshore, and they want to be a more physical team. So that's the direction the Owen Sound attack are heading. So I kind of get the vibe that this team might be fighting for a playoff spot in the upcoming season, but they could still make a few moves. They do have about a half dozen OA candidates, and we'll have to wait and see what DeGray does next with this Owen Sound attack team. So overall, the Midwest Division, it could come down to the Erie Otters and the London Knights challenging for top spot in the Midwest, while the Rangers, Storm, and Attack, probably the lower half of the Western Conference standings is how I see it right now. But training camp less than a week away. This is an early preview when it comes to the 24-25 season. So I'd love to see the interactions. Who do you think takes top spot in the Midwest? And what else do you think could be a bit of a surprise in this upcoming season? So thanks again for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We'll talk to you again soon.